Hi everybody, I am Brian Mullins the Fox, back on the Ranting Archive channel for the first time in such a long time. It has gathered some dust, considerably, and I am very much considering this as a legit topic now. Here are 3 reasons why looking to the past to foreshadow and even predict future events is not only the best way to foresee things, but it's also key to maintaining a factually accurate narrative and telling of events when these happen and even after the fact. Starting off with number 1, the patterns come out long before the foreshadowing kicks in. For example, in countless videos throughout the years, I have somewhat studied culture shock long enough to tell which thing is going to be the next target of such, even if the prediction I made about it was wrong to some degree. Because even now, I can just sum it up in a blunt way. It all started with the culture shock that targeted a dying religious cable network. The second one expedited the hostile environment around it, and when it relaunched again in 2001 after years of failure, it prolonged the phenomenon in which the first of 3 culture shocks is documented. What was targeted first started it all. What has been targeted now will meet its unfortunate end. And what happens after that will be the event that dusts off the past. And if it all matches what you've measured and documented as past phenomena exactly, that's confirmation. And if the pattern repeats again but only differently, it's because history only rhymes. It can never repeat itself, as I'll get to in the next point. Wonder no fucking longer. You've done your job, you got it done well, you couldn't have had it any other way. Let's move on to number 2. History can never repeat itself. It only rhymes to mirror the future by looking to the past long and hard enough. There are numerous factors that prove that history repeating itself, if that were to be the case at all, if that were to happen at all, which it doesn't, wouldn't mean anything at all. Advancements in technology, acceptance in acquiring certain land to establish states in different years in our country's history, etc. And that's why Tim Pool is a literal schizoid who can't help but fantasize about an upcoming civil war as he's fighting dipshits from both sides. It only means something because it rhymes in the way that mirrors the future by looking to the past, and it can only be eerily reminiscent and even comparable to other events through pattern sequences that are identical to each other in timing and reasoning. You can never expect it to repeat itself. You can only expect it to rhyme in only the same patterns and pattern sequencing that led to the previously relevant event to have ever happened before. You can make all the predictions you want. You can come up with all statistical and non-statistical models that you can, but as long as you've been talking about the decline of something, for me, as a prime example of this, the death of traditional Christmas dinner by the end of 2026, well, the pattern writes itself before I could even say it. And, just speaking of it, number 3, and this is the final reason by the way, it's just poetic and prophetic when it happens in the future, as it was causational as a cautionary story in the past. Now, again, I don't want to stress this much for far too long, but culture shock can do a lot of things to many people, rational and otherwise. I've been talking about the death of traditional Christmas dinner for years, 4 years to be exact, and I can tell you one thing. I should have been paying more attention to that as I was making the predictions about culture shocks starting in 2025. But I didn't have to, because it was all the more convenient to focus on something else. Because it was all the more convenient to focus on what the cause might actually be, and what the cause ends up being. Trump hosting a Christmas Eve and day dinner to certain people he invited, whilst disinviting certain Democrats and press people, and telling them after they looked at the festivities to go have a Christmas dinner of their own. That culture shock is the strongest since 1998, and 2026's culture shock will probably be 10 times stronger than 2025, especially when it comes to concerning the future of Canada as a nation, which is very fucking grim, outside of the organ smuggling, organ trafficking, all the medically assisted suicides, and now trans shooters. This country of Canada is completely fucked. And you're not a schizoid simply because the beaver didn't start the goddamn forest fire. But only you can stop the forest fire from spreading, in this allegory, Trump derangement syndrome, from taking too much hold of your entire country. And that would only be possible had this fire not started in the first place. Had this beaver not light a match. Obviously, I don't have much to say in this rant video other than what I have said. I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent, but that's okay. With all that being said, I'm Brian Mullins the Fox, signing out. see you in the next episode of my conspiracy series, or in like April or May or whatever, possibly going back to short form commentaries and even rants, and even the long form versions of commentaries and rants. Bye-bye.